friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Arlene if you're new here, and this is my urban homestead. Today we're in the garden and we are going to be working on jalapeno peppers because these peppers are going crazy. I'm so excited about it. We have been going through one heck of a heat wave lately. The weather is just horrible. It is so hot with a heat index of like 110 degrees every single day. So we've been kind of staying out, and the trees have been suffering quite a bit. The one tree that has not been suffering, those are my peppers. My jalapenos are doing the best that they can right now. They are putting on so many peppers, and today we're going to be harvesting peppers and preserving peppers. So I'm going to be making some dill pickled jalapeno peppers. Super excited about that. We really love dill pickle flavors, so I'm doing this for the first time as you guys are riding with me on this journey, so we're gonna see how that works out. It's really nice right now. It is overcasted. It's still super ridiculously hot, but we do have a little bit of overcast, so that's why I'm taking advantage to come in here, because it is the heat index at this moment is somewhere around 98 degrees, so want to take advantage now before it gets really rough and harvest. So let's get into our pepper harvest. So friends, we grow these guys in a raised bed, so they are a little bit high up into the trees. They do look like they're much taller than they are, but that's because we have these beds that are super raised. So this one's going to be super spicy because you see all that cracking in the skin. That lets you know when a pepper is spicy. Just like this guy right here, all that cracking in there, that means spice. Okay friends, so we're going to start these pickles off, or these pickled jalapenos off, with our Dutch oven. So I'm setting that on the stove, and to it I'm going to add 3 cups of water. Third cup here. So I like to use the filtered water from our refrigerator to start. Our drinking water, we have it set up with a 5-stage filtration system. Love it, because the city water has a tendency of having a really strong chlorinated taste to it, and I know that they add a lot of things to it. So if we can avoid all of those additives into our water, that would be best. So we use filtered water for this. I don't like to use fridge water. I actually learned a really hard lesson with that. Every time I would try to start a new sourdough starter, it would die, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I changed temperatures, time of day, I changed everything, and then I changed the water, and she's going strong. It was the water, definitely. Water is so important in the quality of it, and we live in the city, so it's to be expected. To this water, we're gonna add 3 cups of white distilled vinegar. So just as a habit, because sometimes you can find different things on the shelves, I always buy a vinegar. Now it should label it, I'm just trying to find it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it there, but it needs to say 5%. It needs to be 5% acidity when canning. So I always buy the 5% acidity. Very rarely have I ever seen one that doesn't say that, but just in case, always make sure it says 5% acidity. That's our 3rd cup of vinegar. Okay, so to that, let me grab our tablespoon. And while I'm here, I'm grabbing our tablespoon, teaspoon, and quarter teaspoon. Okay, so next we're gonna do 6 tablespoons of kosher salt. Perfect. This is consequently the same brine that I use for pickles, which when we finally start getting cucumbers, I can make pickles. I'm very excited about that. We're gonna add 2 teaspoons of sugar. So the salt that I use, the kosher salt, if you don't use kosher salt or you don't have it, a non-iodized salt will be the substitute for it, because maybe you can't find kosher salt, but they're all usually next to each other. If I don't have a kosher salt, I usually buy a natural sea salt as well, but I like to keep kosher salt around for pickling, canning, things like that. Although to be honest, I don't typically add salt to my canned vegetables. I'd rather add it later on. It's a control thing. Okay, the next ingredient is going to be peppercorns. Now I purchased a medley peppercorn, so it has pink peppercorns, black, white. I'm good with all of that. If you only use black peppercorns, it also has green ones. The green are my favorite peppercorns. They give a really strong spice to them. Delicious. So 2 teaspoons of peppercorns, and then so it calls for coriander. Where are you? Oh, coriander. Okay. Whew. All the way in the back. It always happens. So it calls for coriander. Now, I only have ground coriander. So if you're using coriander seed, you would be adding about a tablespoon. Because I'm using the ground coriander, I'm only gonna add a teaspoon because that strong coriander flavor is already in there. Okay, and then a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. If you like them spicy, add more. But like I said, I have a little bit of a control issue, so I'd rather add things a little later. Okay, where's my friend? Okay, and then the last thing we're gonna add to this pot is turmeric. Now, I'm just gonna add maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of turmeric. We want it more for color than anything else. Grab a whisk. And we're gonna turn this on to a medium high. We want to cook this, not boil it to death, bring it up to a boil just to have that salt and that sugar dissolve into this and create a beautiful brown. Okay. Right, have that nicely stirred there. Feeling good about it. Let me clean up so we can start working on our peppers. So friends, jalapenos are nothing to joke about when it comes to heat levels. So I like to wear gloves when working with them, just to be a little safe, right? So many times, it's happened to me so many times where I'll cut one up and I don't put gloves on, wash my hands, and I didn't quite wash them so thoroughly, and then I'll rub my eyes, and the screaming pain that comes with it, I don't even want to play with that. So gloves is the way to go. So I'm using 8-ounce mason jars, right? Now these I purchased at Walmart, and they are the Great Value brand. I had never seen them before, only recently did I start seeing them, and so far I like it. I mean, they've been treating me quite well. The lids are kind of hit and miss, so I always prefer either the Golden Harvest lids, ball lids, or Anchor Hocking lids. Now, it's whoever has the best price, to be completely honest with you, but these guys, they're pretty good, so no complaints yet. So here we go. Let's get to work prepping our peppers. Alrighty guys, so just trying to get set up here to create a more friendly jar filling experience. I have my brine here and it is nice and warm, and the sugar and the salt have dissolved perfectly in there. So I'm just gonna get these guys a little bit closer to the pot so I'm not going a long distance away from it to fill them. So here we go. I'm just gonna take a ladle and fill it and leave about about a half inch of headspace, sorry. So again, I'm just gonna fill these across and then come back and make sure that everyone is topped off accordingly. Might have to get another jar going. So I'm just using a plastic straw at this point to debubble. I lost my debubbler ages ago. You know, when you get your starter kit of canning things, it comes with a little debubbler. Lost it. I have no idea where that thing is. This one's gonna have to go like right there. Can I go? Okay. So now I'm just topping everybody off just a tad. You just want to make sure there's enough of the brine to coat, but not so much that it's like overflowing. Okay, perfect. So now that is taken care of. I'm really happy with the amount of brine that I have left and what I used. Perfect. I could have done one more jar, but why push it? Okay. So now I'm just gonna take 1 or 2 paper towels and fold it up like this, and then I just put some vinegar on the towel just to moisten it and clean the rims up. Some people will just use water. I like to use vinegar just to ensure that there's nothing on there, because vinegar is a cleaning agent, and if there's anything like sticky or oily on there, the vinegar will cut through it. That's just to ensure our seal. Spectacular. Wonderful. Okay. So now just putting on a lid for everybody. I did wash my lids with hot water. There's no need to sterilize them, but I like to err on the side of caution. And then we're just finger tight, nothing more than that. You don't want to crank down too hard. You just want to make sure that it's holding down our lid. Beautiful. Okay friends, so our water is now boiling, and we're going to carefully lower the jars in. And we are going to process these for 5 minutes. So our timer has gone off on these guys. Let's pop them out. Oh yeah, they look real pretty. Look at that. Beautiful. I love it. Looks amazing. Okay. So we're gonna remove these from the heat here. I'm putting them on just a tea towel on the counter to let them come to room temperature. And I'm gonna be listening for that pop. Now, oh, these are amazing. So friends, I've got a ton of peppers left. I gotta figure out something to do with those. Definitely. Super excited. We're gonna see what we do with those.